Hello, hello. I would like to say one thing before we get started. The fan's on because it's hot, and also I just got back from sunbathing. So I might look a little slutty, which I think is actually kind of appropriate for the book we're talking about today, which is this. Not sure if I can read the title out loud, so here's this, but I can read the author's name, whose name is Robert Rodi. This book was published around 1992, which came out the same year as Madonna's Erotica, and I think those two things coming out in the same year makes a lot of sense. I'll get to that soon. If I do, I might forget. To be honest, I might forget. But basically, this book is about this woman named Natalie who has a unrequited love with her gay best friend named Peter. She is fucking psychotic. Quite literally, she has ruined every single one of his relationships the moment she got into his life. Every single one. Except for his new lover, whose name is Lloyd. Now, Lloyd is this type of guy who is, he challenges you. He's a very challenging person. Like, you know those people that, like, you talk to, like, in person, and you're just like, why do you think like that? But, like, the more you talk to them, they make you start thinking about, like, the norms that you're used to. And it's like, like, he's the type of person that, like, really challenges you to think outside of your own perspective, and I really respect that. Now, some of the things I don't agree with him, but you can read that for yourselves, but I do like that. I do like that type of person that really makes you think, and Lloyd is that type of person, and Peter's an artist. So, and as someone who is also an artist, I think you do need that type of person to really make you think in different perspectives in your life. So I think that makes perfect sense why, like, this is like Peter's like new love and like the new love of his life. I think that makes perfect sense. That doesn't make sense to Natalie, because the majority of this book is her trying her damnedest to sabotage it the best way she can. Because if Peter's not her man, then Peter's nobody's man. And that's really the main premise of the book. Now, what do I like about this book? What I like about this book is I love the writing. The writing is so witty. The writing is like a sitcom. It came out six-ish years before Will and Grace, and you can tell that, like, someone who created Will and Grace, or one of the writers at least, had to read this book, because to me, Natalie is just a more eclectic, insane version of Grace from Will and Grace, to the point that every time I read this book, despite the characteristics that are listed and described in the book, all I see when I read about Natalie is Grace. And a lot of, like, the plots and a lot of, like, some of the chapters remind me of something that, like, Jack would do, or something that Karen would do, or something that Grace would probably do. Not necessarily Will, because I think if there was a Will in the situation, it would 110% be Peter. Except if Peter... You know what? I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to eat up Will and Peter, so I'm sorry. I won't say that. But yeah, the writing's so witty, it's engaging, it's a nice read. It does make you think a little bit, and there are some very serious moments in there, and I like the balance between, like, you know, very sarcastic, very witty, very like that type of writing versus like the very serious, hard-hitting moments. Like, there's a difference, and even when, like, the stakes are really high, or the rising climax is about to get, like, super rising, but not right to the climax. Also, I said rising climax, I meant rising action, but you already knew that. But before, like, shit really hits the fan, there's this one moment that is just so funny for me. Whereas I'm supposed to be taking it so seriously, but the way it's written, it's just funny. It just reminds me of like something that would happen to like Will and Grace. So it's amazing. The characters are really nice as well. I love most of the characters. I love Natalie's mom. I can't think of her name right now, but Natalie's mom is basically like if Jack and Karen from Will and Grace was like one person, and I think that's funny. I really like how it does, like, it's written by a gay man, and it does feel really, really gay. Like, this is a gay book. This is not like a gay book written for like straight people, and this is not pandering to like straight artists. This is like a gay book. Like, you have to understand gay culture to really fuck with this book, and I love that. But also, I love that, like, I'm a pop culture fanatic, obviously, you could tell, but it's not like set in stone about, like, it doesn't feel like it doesn't feel like, if you don't read this book during like the time it was published, you will not get the references or anything like that. Everything makes sense, everything gets explained for things that are very out of date. Like, it's just like, oh, okay, cool, awesome, great. But yes, fantastic book. Now, there's 2 cons that I have with this book. One of them is the ending, just a little bit. I won't spoil it, but I feel like there is one moment that I didn't feel like was really deserved with one of the characters, and I don't know, and I felt like it was weird. And I know it's interesting. I feel like if this was like a non-spoiler review, I would definitely get into it a lot more, but interesting. And my biggest gripe, which is not a huge plot point in the book, but it does play into the book a little bit. There's this character named Quentin, and Quentin's black. And Quentin was an ex-gang member, and he lives in the ghettos and all this stuff. But the way that he has written Quentin, and almost the majority of the black characters in this book as well, it almost feels like a parody of black people versus how like actual black people speak. It's like, I know the term ebonics is like very outdated, and it was, you know, well, it was used in like the 90s when this was released, so I will be using it here. But the use of ebonics doesn't feel like ebonics. It feels like, you know, you're parodying a black person. You're writing this black person that's very ignorant and very stupid, like they legit have not went to school one time of their life. And it's like, it's not like upsetting to me, but it's definitely just odd, and it's annoying. Instead, it's not upsetting, but it's annoying, because there's one chapter specific that Quentin was like one of the main people in, and it was just like those type of like parody inflictions, like back to back to back to back to back, and I was like, Jesus Christ, when is this gonna end? But that was like the only time in the book that I ever felt like, okay, when is this going to end? But yeah, those are my only 2 cons, really. Everything else, really great. This is a very nice read, like I said. This is a book that, like, I feel like it's perfect for any time of the year. It's perfect for winter, it's perfect for spring, it's perfect for fall, and it's perfect for summer. Like, it's just an all-around year-end book, and it's great. I could not recommend this enough. Buy it if you can, buy it when you can. And that's really it. If you liked the video, like the video. If you want to subscribe for me and whatever else I want to talk about, books, writing, music, pop culture, anything, press that subscribe button. And, you know, leave a comment, leave a message, all that stuff. Thank you so much. Have a beautiful rest of your day. Hell yeah.